Hello, the unspoken woman, welcome to the channel. The easiest mind to control is the one that never stops to ask, who benefits if I believe this? Here's a strange truth. The greatest prison in history wasn't built with steel bars or concrete walls. It was built with habits, distractions, expectations, and invisible rules that millions follow without ever questioning them. The most effective form of control isn't forcing people to obey. It's convincing them they're choosing freely. Now, before anyone starts looking for agents in black suits and sunglasses, relax. This isn't about science fiction. It's about something far more unsettling. The invisible systems that shape how people think, what they chase, what they fear, and even what they call success. But every so often, someone quietly slips through the cracks. Not because she's stronger, not because she's louder, not because she's trying to rebel. She simply sees the game differently. While everyone else is busy collecting approval, she's collecting clarity. While others are racing to fit into a world that keeps changing the rules, she's asking a question most people never dare ask. Who wrote these rules in the first place? That's exactly why the Sigma female is so difficult to manipulate. She isn't immune to pressure, temptation, or emotion. She's simply become skilled at recognizing the invisible strings before someone gets the chance to pull them, and that's what makes her unpredictable. In today's video, we're uncovering 12 extraordinary reasons why the Matrix can't control the Sigma female, not because she's perfect, but because she refuses to surrender the one thing the Matrix wants more than anything else: her ability to think for herself. By the end of this video, you may never look at success, freedom, or even your own daily habits the same way again. Number 1. She makes boredom her superpower. Most people are terrified of being bored, even if they never admit it. The moment life becomes quiet, they reach for something to fill the silence: a phone, a conversation, a notification, a video, or endless scrolling. They mistake constant stimulation for living. The Matrix loves this because a distracted mind is much easier to influence than a focused one. The Sigma female does something very different. She doesn't see boredom as a problem to escape. She sees it as a doorway. When everything around her becomes quiet, her mind becomes louder in the best possible way. That's when she notices things other people miss. She reflects on her choices, questions her habits, and separates what she truly wants from what the world has been telling her to want. Silence has a strange effect. It exposes uncomfortable truths. It reveals fake friendships, empty goals, and routines that no longer serve a purpose. Many people avoid these discoveries because facing them requires change. The Sigma female isn't afraid of that discomfort. She understands that growth often begins where entertainment ends. This is why she rarely acts out of impulse. While others rush to react, she gives herself space to think. That pause is powerful. It protects her from emotional decisions, clever marketing, and social pressure disguised as opportunity. People often assume she's doing nothing when she's sitting quietly, but that's usually when she's doing her deepest work. She's observing, connecting ideas, solving problems, and rebuilding her perspective. Her greatest breakthroughs don't happen in chaos, they happen in stillness. The Matrix depends on constant noise because noise keeps people occupied. The Sigma female has learned a secret that many never discover. A mind that is comfortable with silence becomes incredibly difficult to manipulate. When you no longer fear your own thoughts, you stop needing the world to tell you what to think. That's where real freedom begins. Number 2. She doesn't need an audience to feel real. One of the biggest traps in today's world is the feeling that every moment has to be witnessed before it matters. People eat for photos, travel for posts, celebrate for likes, and sometimes even cry where someone can see them. Without realizing it, they begin living for an audience instead of for themselves. The Sigma female quietly refuses to play that game. She doesn't measure the value of her life by how many people clap for it. Some of her biggest victories happen in complete silence. She can learn a new skill, reach a personal goal, or overcome a painful chapter without announcing it to the world. Her satisfaction comes from knowing she did it, not from hearing everyone else talk about it. That makes her difficult to influence. Praise doesn't control her, and neither does criticism. If she isn't depending on strangers to validate her choices, strangers also lose the power to shape those choices. She doesn't wake up wondering how to impress people. She wakes up asking herself whether she's becoming the woman she wants to be. This is why she often appears mysterious. It's not because she's trying to be secretive. She simply believes that not every chapter of her life belongs on display. Some dreams grow stronger when they are protected from opinions, expectations, and unnecessary attention. Ironically, the less she tries to be noticed, the more unforgettable she becomes. People are naturally curious about someone who isn't desperately trying to be seen. While others spend their energy managing appearances, she spends hers building substance, and substance always outlasts performance. The matrix thrives on people who constantly seek approval, because approval creates dependence. The Sigma female has broken that cycle. She knows that a life lived for applause will always belong to the crowd. A life lived with quiet conviction belongs only to the person living it, and that kind of freedom cannot be manufactured or controlled. Number 3, she can't be rewarded with fake importance. The Matrix has mastered one powerful trick, making people believe that feeling important is the same as being valuable. It hands out shiny titles, expensive labels, social status, and public recognition, convincing people they've made it. The problem is that many spend their entire lives chasing symbols instead of substance. The Sigma female sees through that illusion almost immediately. She has learned that not everything that looks impressive actually improves a person's life. A fancy title means very little if it comes with constant stress and no peace of mind. Thousands of followers mean nothing if there isn't a single genuine friend to call during hard times. A luxury lifestyle isn't freedom if it's built on debt, anxiety, and the need to keep impressing people. Instead of asking, "Will this make me look successful?" she asks, "Will this make my life better?" That simple question changes everything. It prevents her from wasting years chasing goals that only feed her ego while starving her happiness. This is why she rarely falls for status games. She isn't impressed by people who constantly remind everyone of their achievements, possessions, or connections. She knows that truly confident people don't need to advertise their worth every chance they get. Real value doesn't make noise. It speaks through character, wisdom, and consistency. The Matrix struggles to influence someone like this because its biggest rewards no longer work. It can't tempt her with empty prestige or manipulate her through fear of missing out. She understands that some of the happiest people live quietly, while some of the most admired people secretly feel trapped by the image they've created. The Sigma female would rather have a peaceful mind than an impressive reputation, meaningful freedom than borrowed status, and genuine fulfillment than public applause. Once someone stops chasing fake importance, they become incredibly difficult to control, because the rewards everyone else is fighting over suddenly lose all their power. Number 4, she studies the seller before buying the dream. Most people pay attention to the promise. The Sigma female pays attention to the person making it. That small difference protects her from countless disappointments. The world is full of people selling something. Sometimes it's a product, sometimes it's an idea, a lifestyle, a belief, or even a version of success. They know exactly what to say to make their message sound irresistible. They promise happiness, confidence, wealth, popularity, or a better future. Many people hear the words and immediately become interested. The Sigma female becomes curious for a different reason. Her first question isn't, "Is this exciting?" It's, "Why are they so eager for me to believe this?" She understands that every message has a motive behind it. Some motives are honest. Others are driven by money, influence, attention, or control. She wants to know the difference before she commits. This habit saves her from following trends simply because everyone else is. She doesn't assume something is true because it's popular. She knows that popularity and truth have never been the same thing. Throughout history, entire crowds have confidently believed ideas that later proved completely wrong. She also watches actions more than words. If someone claims to care about honesty but constantly twists the truth, she notices. If someone preaches freedom while demanding blind loyalty, she notices that too. She has learned that people often reveal their real intentions through their behavior long before they reveal them through their words. That doesn't make her cynical. It makes her careful. She doesn't reject every opportunity or distrust everyone she meets. She simply refuses to hand over her trust without asking questions first. The matrix depends on people accepting messages at face value. The Sigma female quietly looks behind the message. She knows that once you understand who profits from an idea, you often understand the idea itself. That habit alone makes her remarkably difficult to manipulate. Number 5. She notices manufactured urgency. One of the Matrix's favorite weapons isn't fear or force, it's urgency. It constantly whispers that you're running out of time. Buy it now. Decide today. Respond immediately. Everyone else is already ahead. If you don't act this second, you'll miss your chance forever. Most people don't realize how often their biggest decisions are made under pressure instead of wisdom. The Sigma female has learned something that changes everything. Real opportunities can usually survive a little patience, but traps demand instant action. Whenever she feels pushed to make a quick decision, she slows down instead. She understands that pressure clouds judgment. The louder the world shouts, "Hurry," the quieter she becomes. That pause gives her something many people never have, a chance to think instead of react. She has noticed that many so-called emergencies disappear after a day or two. The trend that everyone claimed would last forever suddenly fades away. The heated argument people insisted she join is forgotten by next week. The purchase she was told she absolutely needed no longer seems important after a good night's sleep. This doesn't mean she's lazy or afraid to make decisions. It means she refuses to let panic become her advisor. She knows that rushed choices often lead to long regrets. The Matrix depends on people believing that speed is always a sign of intelligence. The Sigma female knows the opposite can also be true. Sometimes the smartest move is to wait while everyone else is rushing. She would rather lose an opportunity than lose her peace of mind. That calm approach frustrates anyone trying to manipulate her. Emotional pressure doesn't work because she won't borrow someone else's sense of urgency. She understands that not every open door should be walked through, and not every ticking clock is telling the truth. The person who controls the pace of her decisions controls the direction of her life, and she refuses to hand that control to anyone else. Number 6. She has become difficult to predict. The Matrix loves patterns because patterns are easy to control. The moment people become predictable, they also become easier to influence. If someone always reacts the same way, buys the same things, follows the same routine, and fears the same outcomes, controlling them becomes almost effortless. The Sigma female understands this, which is why she refuses to let her life become a script that someone else can read. She doesn't make unexpected choices just to look mysterious. She changes because she believes growth demands movement. The version of herself that worked last year may not be enough for this year. She is constantly learning, adjusting, and letting go of habits that no longer serve her. While others cling to familiarity, she quietly evolves. People often think they have her figured out, only to discover they don't. She might leave an environment everyone expected her to stay in. She can walk away from an opportunity others would desperately chase. She'll suddenly learn a completely new skill, change her priorities, or outgrow relationships that have become comfortable but unfulfilling. Her decisions are guided by purpose, not by other people's expectations. This unpredictability frustrates those who try to manipulate her. Emotional manipulators rely on knowing how someone will respond. They expect guilt to work, pressure to work, or praise to work. But the Sigma female doesn't react from habit. She responds after thinking, and that makes all the difference. She also refuses to trap herself inside a fixed identity. She doesn't believe she has to keep doing something simply because she's always done it. If she discovers a better path, she'll take it without apologizing. The Matrix prefers people who stay exactly where they are because predictable people are easier to direct. The Sigma female keeps growing beyond yesterday's version of herself. She cannot be placed in a neat little box, and that's exactly why she remains so difficult to control. Number 7. She understands that convenience is often a trade. The modern world has become obsessed with making everything easier. One click, one tap, instant delivery, instant answers, instant entertainment. Convenience feels like a gift, but the Sigma female has learned that every gift deserves a closer look. She knows that the easiest option isn't always the smartest one. She has noticed that convenience almost always asks for something in return. Sometimes it's your time. Sometimes it's your privacy. Sometimes it's your independence. And sometimes, without you even realizing it, it's your ability to think for yourself. The more people rely on systems to make every decision, the less they exercise their own judgment. This is why she doesn't automatically accept what's placed in front of her simply because it's fast or popular. She pauses and asks, "What am I giving up to gain this?" That single question separates her from the crowd. While others focus only on what they're getting, she's equally interested in what they're losing. She also understands that comfort can quietly become a cage. When life becomes too convenient, people stop learning useful skills, stop solving problems, and stop challenging themselves. Before long, they become dependent on things they once could have lived without. The Sigma female refuses to let comfort weaken her ability to stand on her own. That doesn't mean she rejects technology or avoids modern life. She enjoys convenience when it truly serves her. The difference is that she's using it as a tool, not allowing it to become her master. She decides when to unplug, when to slow down, and when to do things the harder way, because she knows difficult paths often build stronger minds. The Matrix prefers people who never question the hidden price of convenience. The Sigma female does. She understands that freedom isn't about having the easiest life. It's about keeping ownership of her choices. And once someone values independence more than effortless comfort, they become far harder to influence than they ever imagined. Number 8. She can walk away from winning. Most people think winning is about proving they're right. The Sigma female has discovered something far more powerful. Not every victory is worth the price it demands. Sometimes the biggest win is knowing when to leave. The Matrix encourages endless battles, arguments in comment sections, office politics, family drama, and the constant need to have the last word keep people emotionally exhausted. It convinces them that backing down means weakness. The Sigma female sees through that illusion. She understands that some fights are designed to consume your energy, not reveal the truth. She has learned to ask herself a simple question before responding. What do I actually gain by winning this? If the answer is nothing but a bruised ego, wasted time, or unnecessary stress, she quietly walks away. That decision confuses people because they mistake her silence for defeat. In reality, she has already won by refusing to sacrifice her peace. This doesn't mean she lacks confidence. In fact, it takes far more confidence to leave an argument than to stay trapped in one. Anyone can keep talking. Very few people have enough self-control to stop. She also understands that some people don't want understanding. They want attention. They want a reaction. They want proof that they still have access to your emotions. By refusing to play along, she closes the door they were hoping to keep open. Over time, this habit protects her from emotional exhaustion. While others are still replaying old arguments in their minds, she's already focused on building a better future. She refuses to let temporary conflict steal permanent peace. The matrix depends on people believing they must win every battle to protect their pride. The Sigma female knows a deeper truth. Protecting your peace is often more valuable than protecting your pride. The strongest woman isn't the one who wins every argument. She's the one wise enough to recognize which battles deserve her energy and which ones deserve nothing more than her quiet exit. Number 9. She doesn't mistake visibility for value. The Matrix has convinced millions of people that if something is everywhere, it must be important. The more attention something gets, the more valuable it appears. That's why so many people chase followers, headlines, popularity, and constant recognition. The Sigma female isn't fooled by this illusion because she knows visibility and value are two completely different things. She has noticed that some of the loudest voices have the least to say, while some of the wisest people are rarely noticed. Real wisdom doesn't need to interrupt every conversation. Real strength doesn't need to announce itself. And real confidence doesn't spend its life trying to stay in the spotlight. This changes the way she judges people. She isn't impressed by someone simply because they're famous, influential, or admired by the crowd. She pays attention to how they treat people when no one is watching. She values integrity over image, consistency over popularity, and character over reputation. The Sigma female also applies this principle to herself. She doesn't feel pressured to make every achievement public just to prove she's making progress. She knows that some of life's greatest accomplishments happen quietly. Healing from emotional pain, developing discipline, breaking unhealthy habits, and becoming mentally stronger rarely receive applause, yet they are worth far more than public attention. That's why she doesn't panic when she isn't being noticed. She understands that seasons of invisibility often become seasons of growth. While others are busy trying to stay relevant, she's busy becoming remarkable. The Matrix rewards people who constantly seek attention because attention can become an addiction. Once people depend on being seen, they become easy to influence. The Sigma female refuses to build her identity on something so unstable. She would rather possess genuine value than borrowed fame because she knows attention comes and goes, but character remains. In the end, what you are will always matter more than how many people are looking at you. Number 10. She has learned to enjoy disappearing. One of the greatest fears the Matrix creates is the fear of being forgotten. It constantly tells people they must stay visible, stay relevant, and stay in everyone's mind. If they disappear for a while, they worry they'll lose opportunities, friendships, influence, or importance. The Sigma female has discovered that disappearing isn't always a loss. Sometimes it's a strategy. She knows there is incredible power in stepping away from the noise. She doesn't feel the need to constantly update people about her life, explain every move she's making, or announce every goal she's chasing. While others are broadcasting their plans, she's quietly working on them. This habit protects more than just her privacy. It protects her focus. The fewer opinions she invites into her life, the less distracted she becomes. She doesn't have to defend her dreams, answer unnecessary questions, or deal with people projecting their doubts onto her ambitions. Her energy stays where it belongs, on the work itself. She has also noticed something fascinating. When people know less about you, they have less power over you. They can't easily predict your next move, criticize what they don't know, or interfere with plans they never heard about. Privacy becomes a form of protection. Disappearing also gives her room to grow without pressure. She can fail, learn, improve, and change without feeling like she's performing for an audience. That freedom allows her to become stronger in ways that public attention rarely permits. The Matrix teaches people that their worth depends on how often they're seen. The Sigma female knows that isn't true. Some of the greatest transformations happen behind closed doors, long before anyone notices the results. She doesn't disappear because she's hiding from life. She disappears because she's building one. And when she finally reappears, people are often surprised, not because she talked about changing, but because she quietly became someone they never expected. That's the difference between seeking attention and pursuing transformation. Number 11. She has escaped the invisible competition. One of the Matrix's smartest tricks is convincing people they're in a race they never agreed to join. Every day, they're pushed to earn more, own more, show more, and outdo everyone around them. Someone buys a bigger house, so another person feels the need to upgrade. Someone gets promoted, and suddenly everyone else feels behind. Someone's life looks perfect online, and people begin comparing their ordinary Tuesday to someone else's carefully edited highlight reel. The race never ends, because it was never designed to. The Sigma female quietly steps off that track. She doesn't measure her life against someone else's timeline. She understands that comparison steals more than happiness. It steals clarity. The moment you become obsessed with keeping up, you stop asking yourself what you actually want. You begin chasing goals that belong to other people while abandoning the ones that truly matter to you. This is why she doesn't feel threatened by another person's success. She doesn't see life as a competition with limited winners. Someone else's achievement doesn't reduce her potential. It simply proves what's possible. Because she has escaped the invisible competition, she makes decisions based on purpose instead of pressure. She can choose a simpler life without feeling like she's settling. She can take a slower path without feeling like she's failing. She can celebrate quietly without needing to prove anything to anyone. The Matrix struggles to influence people like her because its favorite weapon is comparison. It whispers, "You're behind. You're not enough. Look what everyone else has." Those words lose their power the moment someone stops listening. The Sigma female has realized a truth that changes everything. Peace begins when comparison ends. She no longer wastes her energy trying to outrun strangers who aren't even running the same race. Instead, she focuses on becoming better than the woman she was yesterday. That is the only competition she believes is worth winning, and it's the one no one else can run for her. Number 12. She understands that attention is the real currency. The Sigma female has discovered something most people overlook. Attention is one of the most valuable resources a person has. Before money is spent, before decisions are made, and before habits are formed, attention is where everything begins. Whatever controls your attention eventually influences your thoughts, your emotions, and the direction of your life. The Matrix understands this. It competes for people's focus every second of the day. Notifications, endless entertainment, outrage, trends, and constant distractions are all fighting for a place in the mind. Many people don't realize that when they give something their attention repeatedly, they are also giving it a piece of their power. The Sigma female protects her attention like something precious. She doesn't allow every opinion, every argument, or every trend to enter her mind. She knows that not everything deserves a reaction. Not every headline deserves fear. Not every person's drama deserves her energy. This mindset makes her difficult to influence because manipulation requires access. If someone cannot capture her attention, they cannot easily control her emotions or decisions. She decides what deserves her focus instead of allowing the world to decide for her. She also understands that attention is an investment. Where she places it today shapes who she becomes tomorrow. That is why she gives her focus to things that create growth, knowledge, discipline, and purpose. The Matrix wants people distracted because distracted people rarely question where their lives are heading. The Sigma female does the opposite. She becomes intentional with her focus, and that simple choice gives her an advantage most people never develop. When you control your attention, you take back control of your mind. And when you control your mind, you become far harder to influence, manipulate, or direct. The Matrix isn't just a system around us. It can become a way of thinking. It thrives whenever people stop questioning, stop reflecting, and start living on autopilot. It rewards conformity, celebrates distraction, and quietly convinces people that fitting in is safer than thinking for themselves. The Sigma female breaks that pattern. Not because she believes she's better than everyone else, but because she refuses to hand over ownership of her mind. She understands that real freedom isn't found in money alone, popularity, or status. It's found in the ability to make your own decisions, protect your peace, and stay true to your values, even when the world is pulling you in a different direction. The truth is, anyone can follow a crowd. Anyone can repeat what they've been told to believe. But it takes uncommon courage to step back, think independently, and choose a path that reflects who you truly are, instead of who the world expects you to be. Perhaps that's why the Matrix struggles to control the Sigma female. It can't easily manipulate someone who values truth over trends, purpose over popularity, and peace over performance. When your mind belongs to you, your life begins to belong to you as well. If this video challenged the way you see the world or gave you a new perspective, don't let it end here. Take these lessons into your daily life and see how they change the way you think, decide, and grow. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss future content. If one of these points spoke to you the most, share it in the comments below. Your perspective might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. Until next time, stay observant, stay authentic, and never stop thinking for yourself.